I stopped writing to you because it felt like lying to myself. That sentence was still warm on the page when I realized it was about me. The journal lay open on the kitchen counter, spine cracked, my wife's neat handwriting slanting slightly to the right. She had been so protective of that notebook. Locked drawer, polite warnings, that tight smile when I asked what she wrote about. Privacy, she always said. It's just thoughts. I wasn't snooping. I was reaching for my keys. But that single line hit like a slap, and I couldn't look away. I'm 38. I manage logistics for a mid-sized shipping firm in Portland. My wife, Mara, and I had been together for 11 years, married for 8. We lived in a renovated duplex near the river. Quiet street, dog walkers, coffee shops that knew our orders. From the outside, we were steady, dependable, the kind of couple people assumed would last. Inside, something had been thinning. Not arguments. Not drama. Absence. Mara stopped telling me about her day in full sentences. She'd offer fragments. Names without context. She took longer walks alone. She started writing every night after dinner, earbuds in, music low, body turned away from me like a closed door. When I reached for her in bed, she'd tense, then soften with a sigh that felt rehearsed. I told myself this was normal. Seasons. Stress. I didn't want to be the man who mistrusted his wife over vibes. But the journal didn't talk about stress. Page after page described a life I wasn't in. There was a man named Elias, never introduced, just present. His laugh. His patience. The way he listened. She wrote about how she felt seen with him. How she could speak freely without being managed or corrected. She wrote about dinners that weren't dinners, about conversations that lasted until midnight in parked cars, about holding hands and letting go just in time. The worst part wasn't that she wanted him. It was that she wrote about me like furniture. He's kind. He tries. He deserves someone who needs him. I closed the journal when my chest started to burn. I didn't cry. I felt emptied. Like someone had scooped the center out of me and left the shape intact. When she came home, I was sitting at the table. The journal was closed, placed between us like evidence. You read it, she said. Not a question. I read enough. She didn't apologize. She sat down slowly, as if preparing for a long meeting. I told you I needed privacy. You wrote about another man. Her jaw tightened. I wrote about how I feel. That's the same thing. She exhaled, annoyed. It's not physical. Yet. That's when she said it. Calm. Precise. You make everything heavy. With him I feel light. The room went quiet. I waited for something, remorse, fear, even anger. Instead she looked relieved. Like the truth had been a burden she was glad to set down. I never loved you the way you think I did, she continued. You were convenient. Safe. I thought love would grow into something else. I nodded because my body didn't know what else to do. I asked if she planned to leave. She shrugged. I don't know. I don't want to hurt you. I laughed then. A single sound. Ugly. You already did. That night I slept on the couch. Not because she asked. Because the bed felt like a lie. I stared at the ceiling until dawn, replaying memories, rewriting them with new subtitles. The trips. The smiles. The way she praised my reliability. I had confused being needed with being loved. The collapse came quietly over the next few days. At work, I stared at spreadsheets and forgot what numbers meant. At home, I moved through rooms like a guest. I caught myself drafting apologies in my head for things I didn't do. For not being lighter. For not being him. Then one afternoon, sitting alone in my car by the river, something shifted. I realized I was begging in silence. Begging her to choose me. Begging the past to change. Begging myself to become someone else. And I was exhausted. That evening I told her I was moving out. She looked surprised. You don't have to rush. I do, I said. For me. She tried to negotiate. Space. Counseling. Time. I listened calmly and declined. Not because I hated her. Because I finally heard myself. I found a small apartment across town. No view. No charm. Just clean walls and quiet nights. I didn't announce it. I didn't explain myself to friends beyond. It ended. I let the story be simple. Weeks passed. Then months. I learned how much of myself I had abandoned to keep the peace. How often I translated her indifference into my failure. I started therapy. I ran again. I cooked meals that took time. I wrote, not journals about other people but notes to myself about what I would no longer accept. Mara and I finalized the divorce without theatrics. She cried once. I didn't comfort her. Not out of cruelty. Out of boundaries. The journal stayed with her. I didn't need it anymore. What I learned is this. Privacy isn't secrecy when there's nothing to hide. Love doesn't require you to shrink. And dignity isn't loud. It's the quiet decision to stop begging for a seat at a table where you were never truly welcome. If you feel yourself fading in someone else's life, pay attention. You're not asking for too much. You're just asking the wrong person. And leaving doesn't mean you failed. Sometimes it means you finally chose yourself.